I would like to talk about importance of venting emotions. Before that, a small introduction from my side. I'm certified rehabilitation counselor. Have worked with more than 500 patients of psychological illness, and majorly worked on the talk therapy. So I hope Mr. Kate is able to connect his topic with mine. So I was really fond listening to him about his own experiences and the way he was dealing with it. Talking about the topic that I am going to present is important of venting emotions. In our day-to-day life, every day or every time, there are certain moments when we actually feel exhausted, we feel frustrated, and we just want to vent out somehow. We want to take everything out of our head. So this topic entirely revolves around why it is important for us to take out those thoughts, those feelings from our head so that we feel a little lighter. Now, there is a term called bottling up emotions. When we talk about bottling up emotions, it's that when we try to suppress our emotions and our entire feelings, what we are feeling, we try to suppress it so that it doesn't come out and does not hurt anybody. We also have a fear of getting judged. We also have fear of not being understanding. And we also have a fear that it might get misused. There are an n number of tangents that come across when it comes to sharing your emotions or venting out your emotions. So when we do the bottling up of our emotions, it creates a lot of issues in our life, be it personal life, our relationships, our work life, our mental peace, our physical well-being. So as you can see, the thread is connecting to three pictures here. So this bottling up of the emotions could lead to conflicts between you and your partner. It could lead conflict between your own inner self. Entire your holistic health gets affected if you start bottling up all the emotions, if you start suppressing all your emotions. Basically, the psychological issues, be it stress, be it anxiety, be it depression, be it traumatic experiences, be it PTSD, every other psychological illness or psychological distress is related are tangents of emotions. Whatever we feel, how we feel, why are we feeling so, is the relative cause of why do we suffer. It also leads to bottling up the emotions. It also leads to us trying to neglect the fact that we are facing some of the issues here, and we go on to the let's say the adjective of it, that is alcoholism. We get into the drug abuse so that we can just get away with the thought, we can overlook the feelings that we are going through. So this picture here tells us about that. Moving along, venting your emotions elevates stress and tension. You must have seen a lot of people in your day-to-day life as well. When they ask you, hey, are you okay? The sudden reply in our head comes, yeah, I'm fine. But basically, we're not. This, hey, I am fine is termed to be as we are not fine. It's really important for us to figure out and label what exactly is that thing that is hampering us so much. What exactly is the cause which is not letting us fulfill our goals, or which is not letting us to focus on something which is really important to us. So venting out emotion, why is it important and what exactly it is? It's about you taking out your feelings to somebody whom you trust and whom you think that he can be able to help you or guide you. Sometimes there are chances when we do not seek for any advices. We just want to vent out. But for that, again, a listener, it's a two-way process. Venting out emotions is a two-way process. One has to be a good communicator. The second one has to be a good listener. Because unless you're not a good listener, you would not be able to analyze what exactly the person is trying to convey, or what exactly the person is going through. Similarly, if the person is not a good communicator, it's hard for him to tell exactly what is what exactly is the thing that is hampering his mental peace. What exactly is that thing the person wants to get out from himself or herself. You almost always feel better and lighter and after sharing some perceived threats, indignity, misfortune, or injustice. These are some of the categories that they have found, but the feelings are a lot more than that. It could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be sadness, it could be um, feeling betrayed, it could be not being able to achieve certain targets. When you really put your feelings into words, you also realize that what exactly it's bothering you. So here, labeling your issues is really important. While you are focusing on venting out, it's really important for you to figure out exactly what is the cause, what is the reason, why am I facing this issue. It's important to label your emotions. Be it you must have heard many people saying that factor that I'm very irritated. My boss shouted on me today. I am so frustrated with this job. These are certain kinds of the label that they are putting to their feelings, which is really important while venting out. That makes you better equipped to handle similar instances in the future. So it will give you a good vertical to understand that this was the thing that was happened with me in the past and how I have to deal with it. So labeling helps you in that case. If I go with the orders, so whatever has been done in whatever we have faced in the past, if we label it properly, if we label it a certain amount, we'll be able to deal with it more effectively in our future. Now, the venting is about two types. So it's positive venting and negative venting. So positive venting can help you reach to the solution to your problem. So in short, it's a solution focused one, whereas negative venting could be harmful for your entire system. You just keep on cribbing about something, you just keep on crying about something, and when somebody asks you, you say, I don't know. That means you have not able to label it. That means you are yourself not aware to think of what exactly is that thing that is hampering you, which is making you cry, which is making you feel disgust about your own self, and which is making you not feel worth about your own self, which do not let you have that self-worth and self-confidence. Now, how much venting is too much? Venting is great, but everything you need to have a certain some amount of boundary, be it communication, be it closeness, be it anything, be it your personal space, professional space, everything has a boundary. So is the venting. Now, when we vent all the time, we repeat several instances and those stay fresh in our mind. Hence, it's difficult for us to move for our pastime. If we keep on repeating the cycle again and again and again, it's going to rust our thinking process. It does not help us to overcome the problem or the situation that has been triggered us to reach to a certain amount of level where we feel frustrated, when we are unable to make sense of what are we going through. So repeating the venting, venting on for a longer period of time, or venting on for almost all the time, would be unable would leave us unable to figure out like what's going on with us. We will have no time to self introspect unless we do not put certain amount of boundary in our venting process. And we always need someone to hear us out, so that we feel heard, but it's sometimes helpless if there's nobody around us. I would quote this with my example. There was a time when I was venting it out, and I had nobody around me. That's where my self introspection journey started. So that was the moment when I realized that I do not need every time somebody around me to hear me out. I could be myself talking to the mirror and cross questioning myself. That's a sort of a self venting that we use. That's a technology that we use. We use to pen down things. It is important to be able to label our emotions in order to have the essence of a self gratification. It's important for us, as I said in the starting, labeling your emotions would be a very, very helpful technique for us to have a self gratification. When we talk about self gratification, it's the self satisfaction that we get, that I know what exactly is leading to this reaction of mine. This is the way why am I reacting to certain situations. This is the reason why my response to certain stimuli is just like that. Now, I have a very small activity with everybody. I just wanted to make it a little interactive session here. So if I request everybody to open up their cameras, please. Right. So if people can hear me, so here it's the fastest finger first. Thank you so much, Dr. Prakash, to open up your camera. Thank you so much for opening up your cameras. So here is a small activity that I want to do with everybody. It's a fastest finger first. Though I have named it like that, but only you have to do is it's a yes or a no. Thank you, Mr. K, to open up your camera. So here's some list of questions that I have here. All you have to do is you have to hear the question. I'll read a question for you and you have to just say yes or no. Right? If you have a pen on paper with you, you can just write it down. Right? And we'll discuss it after the end of the presentation. Right? Is it okay with you? Is it okay with everybody?
Okay, it's fine.
Beautiful. Great. Let's go with the first question here. So are you ready? Give me a thumbs up,
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so my first question goes here. Have you ever regretted venting out your emotions to someone? Yes or no?
Always.
Great. So we'll just write it and you just have 5 seconds. Whatever comes in your mind right there in a click, you just have to answer that. Yes, you just write it.
Okay.
Secrecy. Okay, I go with the second question. Do you feel people will not understand how you feel?
Yes.
Okay.
Secrecy.
The third question. Do you burst out on anyone when you are irritated?
Many times.
No, never.
Please write it. Please write it. We'll discuss in the end. The surprise is still yet pending. All right. The fourth question that I go on is, are you unable to figure out what is bothering you?
Yes.
No.
Great. Fifth question. Do you feel weak when you cry?
Never cry.
That's so daring, Dr. Prakash.
No, that's crying's powerful.
Yeah, that's
Great.
powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cry all the time.
Let's go with the last question here. Do you feel stuck on something about things that you discussed with your close ones already?
Complicated answer for that.
Wow. Yeah, it took me a little brainstorming while figuring out this question. So do you want me to read the last question again? Or are you all done? Just give me a thumbs up.
That's difficult. Not applicable.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor, you are given yes or no options. But for me, all the questions sometimes is the option for
Okay. I
the
believe
answer
that
for
I
the
should have
questions.
kept a gray zone here. Yeah, I kept it black or white. I should have kept a gray zone here.
Yeah. Of course, I vote over that.
All right. All right. So thank you everybody for answering it. I'll come back to your answers once I'm done. Yes.
Yes.
Right. So if okay, I'll just put it in here only. If the most of the answers of your question is yes, that means if you have regretted venting out your emotions to someone, if it's a yes, if you feel that people will not be able to understand you, if you feel that you bursted out on anybody, any of your friend because you were irritated, if you were unable to figure out what was bothering you, if most of the answers are yes, then my friends, you need to figure it out that there's a difference between emotional venting and emotional dumping. If the answers are yes, then it's emotional dumping. If the answers are no, it's emotional venting. Now, that's a very major, very fine line difference here. Venting is solution oriented, as I said earlier. It is more about reflective than reactive. It's more people who vent out emotions, are open to feedback and other people's perspective, and they have the acceptance of their own personal responsibility. That means they take the responsibility, they tell you the both side story, that this has happened with me, this was my reaction, this was my problem, this is how I reacted to it, and that's why the conflict began. And the last point is aware about the emotional state. The person is aware, he has labeled it, he or she has labeled it, that this is the problem. Why am I frustrated? Why am I angry? Whereas emotional dumping is always playing the victim card. It happened with me, he did this to me. Second is avoid of the personal responsibility. The person who is doing the emotional dumping is not able to take the personal responsibility of their own self. They are not open to solutions. They just want to vent out and throw out their emotions so that they feel lighter, making the other person feeling heavier. I see somebody is able to recall something from their past times. Okay. Then they are unable to figure out what the problem exactly is. They are pretty defensive in their own stances. They will come into the defense zone. They're ruminating the triggering events rather than expressing underlying emotions. They keep on repeating the entire traumatic event that has triggered the certain emotions, but they would not be able to figure out or tell you that what exactly is the emotion that they are going through. So that's the very fine difference between venting and emotional dumping. We generally get confused in our day-to-day life as well, that we think that we are venting out emotions, but we forget the fact that what the other person who the listener is would be feeling. Is he free or not? We just want to blabber everything out because we want to feel lighter. That's with everybody out here. Now, on your left side, you see two girls talking and there is a healthy conversation going on. Yes, the active listener side and an active communicator side is very clearly mentioned here. That's what my friends are venting emotions. But whereas if you see on the right side, it's just one person who's blabbering everything out. The other person has no response to it. That's emotional dumping. Now, you prefer, what do you choose more? Now, there are some do's and don'ts to your venting emotions. The do's are, you need to focus on your tone. You need to focus on your paralinguistic languages as well. All the paralinguistic, your tone, volume, word stress, how you paraphrase your statements. Be specific about the problem. Active listening and active communicating. Leverage to your EQ. Now, here I have mentioned here EQ. EQ is the emotional question, the intelligence of your own self to understand your own emotions, and you are able to understand the other person's emotional as well. The emotional state of both sides are very clear, and you are able, that's how the communication becomes stronger, and you're able to reflect your emotions to somebody else while you're venting out. You need to be mindful about your thoughts and feelings with that of your listener. So taking an example, let's say if I want to vent out something to Mr. Kate, so I'll be, of course, the first thing that I'm going to ask from is that, so are you available at this moment? I feel like venting out. Is it the right time to approach to you? So here I am doing a healthy communication so as to keep the check with my listeners' mindfulness. If he's available or not, if he's in the mood or not. Maybe he's having some other issues going on in his work life. Maybe I have some other issues. Maybe that becomes a conflict. So one need to be very mindful about their own thoughts and feelings with that of their listener and be more empathetic. Now here, empathy is, we all know, stepping into somebody else's shoes and feeling, walking a little mile and feeling where it pinches. So being empathetic is really important while you're venting out, so that you are aware about your own emotions. And as a listener also, you know that you could empathize with that person, not just empathize, but also understand the other person's emotions. The don'ts are immediately venting out without asking. So I called you and I was like, I blabbered everything. That makes me feel lighter, but that is going to make you feel heavier. Making it draining just to feel light. revolve around the trauma or hurtful situations. Shout on to other person. These are the don'ts. These are the things that we should avoid while we are venting out emotions. Use rash languages and be not being empathetic. These are certain things that we should keep mind, which we do not. I personally, when I was going through certain traumas in my life, I remember I did not keep it a check. So that was it from my side. I'll take questions, if any.